Hello guys, Karen00 here. Just bringing you a video today. We are 3 days into the Warriors of Wakanda season, and I've just achieved Infinite, as you can see right here. Rank 101. I did hit Infinite last month, so I started at 70 and went back up to 100 in those 3 days. I just wanted to kind of go through the deck that I used, and also any general tips that I think is useful for climbing in this game. Very interesting card game. It's not like many others. So yeah, let's just go through the deck first, and I'll get into the general tips and the kind of meat and bones of the game. So just to start off, I'm collection level 787. So about 300 levels into pool 3. Now for me, I was a bit lucky here, guys. I'll show you right now. My first ever card that I opened, pool 3 this is the last pool 3 card, I believe. 474. The first card I ever opened was Wong. So, you know, that's very lucky. Because there's a few cards that can really get you started off in pool 3 that kind of make the structure and the base of the great meta decks that we're seeing. If you haven't, tips in terms of, you know, what deck to use, you don't really have a choice of what deck you're supposed to use when you enter pool 3. You have to wait until you hit the right pieces. For example, if you don't hit anything, people normally stick with the Dino decks. You know, Moongale Dino, because it's good stats, it's a good deck. It's not really the best in pool 3, but if you haven't got anything, you haven't really got a choice. But cards and decks you're kind of looking for as you get into pool 3. You know, as your early card, you want to be looking for stuff like Hela, which is good for discard deck. Destroyer, slot straight into a destroy deck. What else is a base? Sarah in a Zeus style deck. So there's a few cards out there. I might make a separate video about the kind of decks that you can use early on. You know, that one card can really make the difference and start you off. Wong is one of those cards, okay, in a reveal deck. So what does Wong do? Ongoing. It's 4 energy, 2 power. Your on reveal abilities at this location happen twice. So this is commonly used, and how I use it is in the Tiger Odin deck that you see previously. You know, white tiger into Odin, getting 2 tigers. Wong obviously makes that significantly better. I mean, you can get 6 tigers, you know, with locations, with increased, you know, usefulness through certain locations. You can get even more than that. So let's break down the deck that I used to get to Infinite this season. Similar to the one that I used at the end of last season, but with a few modifications. So just going through the deck, here we go. This is my Wong deck, Wong 2. I'll go card by card. Sunspot is just a great card in pretty much any deck. It's 1 cost, get on the field, get some presence on the field. And obviously if you want to skip turns, you can utilize the ability at the end of each turn, gain 1 power for each unspent energy. Sometimes you'll have a bad draw. You might not draw Daredevil, meaning that at 2 it just goes up to 3. It's good for kind of, you know, baiting enemy killmongers. It's just a great, you know, solid card, solid 1 cost card that actually scales in the game. Then we have Daredevil. Daredevil is one of my favorite cards in the game. I think it's very strong. Daredevil, 2 energy, 2 power. On turn 5, you get to see your opponent's play before you make your own. So, you know, this card is unbelievable. It allows you to see exactly what your opponent's going to play. You can bluff snap. You can snap if you know you're going to win the game. It's just incredibly powerful to be able to see what your opponent does before you do it. You know, the way it works is they take their turn, then you get a full selection. They get their turn with a full selection of time, then you get your turn with a full selection of time, whilst both still being level 5. So it's like a turn. It's like 2 turns, but in 1, still on 5. Very unbelievable card. Very influential. Ironheart, great card. On reveal, give 3 other friendly cards plus 2 power. 3 energy, 0 power. This is in conjunction with Wong, of course. And you know, when you get Wong with Ironheart, then you can get a location like Onslaught Citadel, Kamar Taj. Those kind of locations that enhances the combo even further. This can see a significant amount of stats, and obviously Odin as well. So this is just a great reveal card. It allows you to hit wide locations, you know, left and when I'm talking about wide locations, the left and right. You play in the middle, left and right. If they've got Professor X or they storm a location, lock down the location, you can get stats on it through this. It's a fantastic card. Wolfsbane, similar situation to Ironheart, but instead of aiming to hit the wide locations, just 1 straight up location. 3 energy, 1 power. On reveal plus 2 power of each other card you have here. So very like the last card, Ironheart, but focusing on 1 location, you know, in conjunction with Wong and Odin. You'll start to see, you know, this deck is you can see very quickly that Wong really does make this deck. A lot of people ask me, can you take Wong out of this deck? No, if you take Wong out of this deck, it's not even close to as good as what it is with Wong. Wong is very fundamental to this deck. Then Storm, fantastic card, control card, 3 energy, 2 power. On reveal, flood this location. Next turn is the last turn cards can be played here. Obviously very, very good with Ironheart because you can still get stats on Storm after the location is locked down. Good with White Tiger. So very, very good in this deck because you can still get power onto that flooded location, whilst a lot of the opponent's decks won't be able to get it as efficiently onto those locations, or just won't be able to use the locations. It all depends on what their deck is. So fantastic. Juggernaut, I think this Juggernaut is a recent addition to the deck. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best cards in the game. Personally, I believe so. I think it's very underrated and underutilized. So what is Juggernaut? Juggernaut is 3 energy, 3 power. On reveal, if your opponent played cards here this turn, move them randomly. Now, one of the caveats, one of the problems with this deck is that it's countered by Cosmo, and you see a lot of Cosmo because Cosmo doesn't really have a counter. You know, Cosmo obviously being the dog, free cost, which stops any reveals being played there. You can't stop it with Enchantress because Enchantress is a reveal. So there's very few counters to Cosmo set from Juggernaut. Okay, so if they've got initiative, which obviously means they can go first in the turn, that's what I mean by initiative, then it still doesn't work. But if you have initiative and you know a Cosmo is going to come, or you feel like Cosmo is going to come, Juggernaut can counter that. And it's not just Cosmo that this card is great with dealing with. If you play Storm, and then you think they're going to try and contest your Storm, your flooded location, use Juggernaut there. Even if you haven't got initiative, that's going to move the unit right out of there. You can also use Juggernaut. It's a very skill check card. It's a very skill intensive card. Like if you've got knowledge about the game, if you know their place, you can really manipulate the opponent's board with this card. It's very underutilized. I'm starting to see it a bit more, but it's very, very good. Like you can also like clog. For example, let's say they've got, or they're on their right location, they've got free characters there, and they don't want to place anything else, so you know they're going to play somewhere else. You play Juggernaut, you clog that zone, you normally get a retreat out of that, okay? Because obviously you can now, you have full control of that location. They can't move any power there. So fantastic card. Wong, obviously we've gone through Wong. Wong is there to enhance all the characters. I mean, how many characters do we have here? We have so many. We have obviously 12 characters, and if I go through this quickly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the 12 characters are on reveal abilities. So fantastic core piece to the card. You need to be very careful though, because it does draw in a lot of problems. Like, you know, people can use Hobgoblin because you need a whole location to be able to stack different characters on this. Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, Cosmo, Professor X, Storm. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of counters to Wong, so just need to be careful with that when snapping. But if he's allowed to flourish, he's allowed to go on the field. He's pretty good. He doesn't lose to very much. Okay, he just clogs the board of power with the other pieces here. Shang-Chi again, another crazy good card. Shang-Chi is 4 energy, 3 power. On reveal, destroy all enemy cards at this location that have 9 or more power. This is an incredible card. It catches people off all the time, which is very important in this game because it allows you to, you know, gain more cubes. If you don't see it coming and you're confident, your opponent's confident, your opponent doesn't see it and they're confident, then they might, you know, be willing to go in with a snap, and then you just hit them with the Shang-Chi, which we call Shang-Chi's, because, you know, destroying all enemy characters at this location that have 9 or more power really can shift the tide of the battle. So fantastic card. Also very good with Odin as well, right? So just a very, very good card. Good in pretty much every deck. It's just fantastic. So one of the best cards in the game for sure. Definitely a premier card. White Tiger, another core piece to the card. 5 energy, 1 power. Just do on reveal, add a 7 power tiger to another location. Obviously with Wong, that's 2 7 power tigers once you start getting locations. Odin, which we're going to go over after. If you play Wong, Tiger, Odin, that is 6 total tigers, okay? 6 total tigers for 42 power. It's pretty, you know, pretty immense. Very good card. Very good for hitting wide positions. The deck has a theme of going after the wide positions, okay? The wide locations, left and right, or middle left, or wherever you're playing centrally, you normally don't win that location. But with White Tiger, you're allowed to win the other 2 locations. Fantastic. What else do we have here? Doctor Doom, another pull 3 card, which I've just included to the deck. 6 energy, 5 power. On reveal, add a 5 power Doom bot to each other location. This is fantastic. One thing to mention about the Doom bots and the Tigers from the previous card is that they actually benefit from Washington DC, so they get +3 power. This is a very good card, catches opponents off guard. Anything that gives power to 3 locations is fantastic. Again, good for hitting wide locations, and you know, with certain locations that reduce energy costs, you can actually get this on an Odin, so you can just fill the whole board with Doom bots. Bar Sinister's a great play as well. It's hilarious. You see it sometimes. There's a few pieces of content out there that show people not playing anything until turn 6. Bar Sinister, fill your location with, you know, the card. You play Dr. Doom Dead, and you got 20 power on each location, depending on the location as well. But pretty great card, guys. Great substitution for White Tiger as well. When you don't draw White Tiger, if you draw one of these, it's great. Odin. Now this is the real beast of this comp after Wong, of course. 6 energy, 8 power. You know, pull 1 card, on reveal, activate the on reveal abilities of your other cards at this location. So you can tell, for example, if you've got Wong and any other reveal card. So let's say we're playing on just a standard location that doesn't affect the Wong combo. You play Wong, then you play Ironheart, then you play Odin. You're talking about Ironheart going off twice, then you're talking about Odin going off once, triggering Ironheart for another 2 procs, then Odin goes off again because of Wong, and another 2 procs from Ironheart. You're talking about 6. So this triggers anything that is on anything that is triggered by this on a Wong tile is going to trigger 6 times. It's insane, guys. It really catches people off guard. So very, very core. And then American Chavez, you know, classic 6 energy, 9 power. You always draw this card on turn 6, not before. It's not really you don't really have many games where you play Chavez. Chavez is really there to thin the deck. You know, there's not much difference between drawing Chavez or Odin at the end. Either way, with if you don't have it in, but it's very useful for drawing the combo pre-hand, right? The Wong combo with some reveals, and it's about 5% more chance to draw Wong with Chavez in the deck than if you didn't have Chavez in the deck at turn 4. So fantastic. I mean, the way the game normally goes down is, you know, you're looking to draw Wong, Ironheart, Odin, and Tiger is ideal, or some kind of, you know, variation of that. If you draw badly in this deck, you just run, and it's really about maximizing your good draws. And so just general tips, guys. That's the deck I use to climb pretty much exclusively to 101. I'm going to keep going this month, see how far I can go with it. Just general tips of play. If you're kind of struggling, if you're kind of stuck at a certain rank, it's happened to me a few times. I would say, for me, the #1 tip in this game is do not be scared to retreat, okay? Do not be scared to retreat. And because, you know, you lose 1 cube, that's fine. Like, if someone turn 1 snaps you and your hand's bad, just run, guys. Retreat. 1 cube is fine, because then when you win 8 cubes, that you can do that 8 times, guys. So it's just about, it's very poker-like, very heads-up poker. You know, don't be scared to run if you've got a bad hand or you get really messed around with the locations. And there's one thing that I saw, which I really, really agree with, guys. I saw a comment saying that if you look at card games, you look at how this card game works with the retreat system and the snapping system. If you put Hearthstone at a 1 and poker at a 10, I'd put it at a 9. Okay, it's so much more Hearthstone at 1, poker at 10. And having this game at a 9, Marvel Snap is so much more like poker and heads up. If you ever played heads up poker, then Hearthstone, you know, with the retreat being a fold, with the snap being a raise. You're familiar with poker. And so yeah, just make sure you're retreating a lot, guys. Don't go in, only go in with snaps. Like, people say a lot of people bluff. I don't see many bluffs, guys. People go in or they go out, right? Depending on how strong they are. If someone snaps, expect them to be strong, because more than 90% of the time they're going to be strong. And yeah, so just make sure you're retreating a lot if you've got a bad hand, and, you know, going real confident when you know that you've got a really strong hand. And it's just about deck knowledge, knowing about what the other people are playing. You know, see the value in seeing a card from the opponent and knowing what kind of deck they're playing from that card will really help you kind of gauge where you are, how strong you are, and how likely you are to win. And it's about maximizing those odds. Okay, so yeah, that's it really, guys. Just wanted to put a quick video out there since I hit Infinite. And yeah, I stream pretty much daily, guys, on Twitch. So if you want to If you want to come in, ask some questions, or just see what's going on, hang out, you know, talk about some deck. We like to talk about decks over there, talk about the state of the game, talk about percentages, whatever. You know, just like to kind of get involved with the game. So, yeah. So I'll drop a link in the description if you want to come down. And if you want to see, I'm just starting to kind of, you know, gather some steam on the YouTube. I'm trying to go for daily uploads, if not every other day. So yeah, definitely subscribe. You know, drop a like if you liked the video. If it helped you out, that obviously helps the channel. And yeah, definitely subscribe if you want to see more content like this, because I'm going to be pumping out as much content as I can with Marvel Snap's great game. And yeah, guys, that's it really. It's Friday. I'm going to be popping out. So have a great weekend, guys, and hopefully see you in the next video, and hopefully in the stream as well. Take it easy.